What is up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Trey Lyle. I am the host of Happy Hour. Joining me as he does every week, this time in his car, is Michael Massie as he's trying to adjust right now.
I think he's mobile masking today.
Yeah, he may be searching for that Long John Silver's that Caleb found years ago.
I'm dead serious, Caleb. When we go to Talladega, we're going to a Long John Silver's, okay?
I'm down.
Because I've never been before.
Cool.
I'm dead serious. I've never been to one of those, so I want to go with you.
All right, well, good luck to that hotel bathroom. Bryan Nolen is joining us this week, as you can tell already, talking. And, of course, Caleb Barnes is here as well. So an all front stretch happy hour this week. Massie is on the road. He's coming back from Atlanta, so no song this week. But got a fun show in store for you. A lot to talk about. A lot of news hit, like, relatively quickly at the beginning of this week in NASCAR. So, as always, leave your comments in the front stretch garage down below. We'll try to show them. We're only on Facebook or on YouTube tonight because we are having issues with Facebook. So hopefully you're watching here on YouTube. And if you are typically a Facebook watcher and maybe you're watching this back on our Front Stretch podcast feed, tune in 7:30 youtube.com/front stretch. Hit the follow button or hit the subscribe button and the like button as well. But if you're also listening on the audio side, subscribe to our audio feed, give us a 5-star review, share it with a friend, do that fun stuff. And as always, sit back, relax, crack open that cold one, and like Massie, please do it responsibly. So Massie don't do it because he's driving, and like everyone who's listening, please do not drink and drive.
I got a big gulp.
That's a Sheets. A big gulp from 7-Eleven. Can you?
Well, what do you call it from Sheets?
It's just a fountain drink.
This is what I had to deal with all weekend.
A big gulp, like it's like a Kleenex and a tissue. Like a Kleenex is a brand. A big gulp is like a brand.
But a Band-Aid is the same thing.
So, can we start?
I don't want to hear it, Brian. You take the cheese off your sandwiches.
I don't like provolone, okay? What do you want to do? Sue me?
This is a great start. All right, let's talk. Can we talk NASCAR?
I don't know. Can we? I think we can, but will we?
Ryan, you're first, so I'm trying to set you up.
Oh, hold on. Sorry.
Look at the chat. We have a private chat where we plan out the show.
Private chat. There's nothing on the private chat, Trey.
Well, I sent it. Maybe you should have got on sooner, and I'll resend it.
Okay, resend it, brother. There we go. Oh, okay. Thank you.
So, I think Brian wants to talk about the guy who ended up in victory lane and oops, Logano did it again. Because I feel like that would have been the song Massie would have done. Oops, like in honor of Britney Spears. So, oops, Logano did it again. Even year. Go ahead.
I mean, myself and Mr. Michael Massie Jr. III were at Atlanta on Sunday. Fantastic racetrack. Shout out to you, Joy. Appreciate you. And it was interesting because I wasn't sure what kind of racing we were going to see. And we saw the carnage and everything. But once again, a familiar winner entered the picture. And like I asked Michael Massie while he's just chowing down on something, what year is it? It's an even year. And what happens in even years? Logano wins the title. And what better way to start out a title run than winning the first race of the playoffs? And so, Michael, or Massie, I don't know why I just called you by your first name. I never do that. I'm gonna kick it off to you, Massie. You asked Joey Loagno about this so-called even year luck, whatever you want to call it. Is it a real thing? And is the path to the championship already started for the 22 car?
In my predictions in the brackets we filled out, I put him in the championship 4. The even year thing is going to continue because I think it's got something to do with the fact that the years, 2024, there's 2 2s in it. What does Joey Logano's number have? 2 2s in it.
2022 had 3 2s in it, though.
Oh.
Okay, well, that's just bonus, Logano.
That was his second championship. There we go.
He won the championship. There you go. He got the championship. Logano, when I asked him about it, he's like, I don't care. He's like, I actually hope to continue that streak this year. But my thought is, and I know like on the teardown, Jeff Gluck, Jordan Bianchi poo-pooed all over the even year Joey concept, but it's a real thing. I mean, this is a decade now where every other year he has, if he does it this year, it'll be a decade of every other year he makes the championship 4. And my theory is that it's because when he misses the championship 4, he gets that chip on his shoulder and tries that much harder. And you know, a pro athlete, when they get that chip on their shoulder, they're like unstoppable, and that's why he has the bounce back year every time. That's my theory on it. It could just be coincidence, luck, whatever. But the one thing you can't dispute is that he might be the most clutch driver in the Cup Series right now. At least one of the most. Because you put him in the playoffs, doesn't matter how bad his year has been, he's gonna be a threat. What do you think about that, Caleb?
I think he's a round of 8 driver. That's where I put him in my bracket. I just don't think he's been good enough throughout the season to show that consistent speed. I mean, he won Nashville with all that chaos and overtime and the fuel and everything. And then he was good at Richmond. So you think about the round of 8 tracks, there is that Martinsville in there. That's where Blaney showed up and really flexed his muscle on the way to Phoenix. But I mean, he'll be good at Talladega in the round of 12. And then I think he does make the round of 8 this year. I think he makes a deeper run. But I don't think he's been consistent enough among the forwards. I think Blaney and Keselowski have kind of looked a little bit more consistent on a week-to-week basis. And the Logano wins this year are kind of weird because you mentioned those years where Logano's done really well. And then 2015 was the one outlier where he won all 3 races in, I believe, the round of 12, and then he got taken out in the round of 8 a couple times. But he hasn't been the dominant Logano that we've seen in other years, even whenever he's winning races. 2022, that championship year, maybe he wasn't super consistent, but he was fast at Darlington and he had the speed to run up front. He was fast at Gateway when he won that race. He was pretty quick at Las Vegas. This year, he hasn't shown that consistent speed on the non-super speedway tracks, I think, to get him up front and to keep him in it. Now, like I said, those Fords, they found something on the short tracks like we see every single year, but I don't think he's the Ford that's going to do it this year and make it to the championship 4. Where are you at on this, Trey?
Yeah, I tend to agree. I mean, he only has 2 wins now. He has 12 quote-unquote bonus points, and even if he gets the round of 8, that's just not going to be enough. I don't think he's accumulating. It felt like he always it was really good at maybe accumulating stage points and stage wins, and it seems to not do that. But on the other hand, it's like he wins the first race of the playoffs, and Massie's bringing up a really good point about, he might be the most clutch driver in the sport. I also think he's just lucky sometimes, and that's what does it. I think there's 8 top tier guys every year, and Logano's in that top 8 tier, I think. And if you get to when it's this format, you get kind of lucky at the final race, and you ultimately win the championship. And I mean, I feel like in most cases, you look at when Larson won. Yes, he was the best car all year, but if his pit crew doesn't win him the last pits, get him out first on the pit stop, he probably doesn't win the championship. So it's all dependent on so many factors in that one race. It's hard to say, is he the most clutch? Because there are other scenarios where, you would have to, to me, clutch would be coming back from adversity in the race to still achieve a lot of things. And I haven't, maybe he hasn't really done that recently.
Yeah, the lucky part is the Walmart sign. He doesn't win that race if the Walmart sign doesn't fall. So that's the
my day job would be a lot harder if that Walmart sign fell. It didn't fall. Let's just put it that way.
I hear you on that. But no, Trey wanted a rant from me on this, and
whoa. I didn't say I wanted it. You said I have a 15-minute rant about this. Let me
15 minutes? Good Lord.
I didn't say 15 minutes. I'll do that. But no, the thing I was going to say, but I was going to try to be more mature about it and not say it, but I'll say it anyways.
Bryan Nolen is on this podcast. There's like, you won't, the lowest bar of maturity is
Once
right
again,
here.
unnecessary shot right there. Absolutely unnecessary. It's just like when I'm on the fast lane with Ed Lane. You take shots at me for no reason. Just like that. No reason.
No, the thing I was going to say is that the even year Joey thing is, that certain podcast I mentioned earlier poo-pooed on it when it is like one of the most interesting stats in all of NASCAR. The only thing I think is like more interesting is that Kyle Busch has won a race for 18 straight years or 19 straight years, and that's might be about to come to an end. Meanwhile, said one of co-hosts of said podcast one of our guys, our stat guy, Steven Stump, could tweet out that there's 36 races in the season this year, which nothing against Steven. Steven does tweet out great stats. Okay, that's not a shot at Steven at all. I love you, Steven. But if Steven were to tweet out that there's 36 races in the season this year, the host of said podcast I mentioned earlier would retweet it and be like, holy wow! What a stat! Oh! But some guy makes the playoffs, makes the championship 4 every other year, and that's a horrible stat. Oh! So yeah, I love you. I really do enjoy that podcast, and I think that host does great work, but I'm just seeing some hypocrisy in that.
I want to make a...
Absolutely fantastic. Beautiful. This was great.
So I there's an inside joke with the that I really want to make right now. Noah is shocked right now, but I'm not going to do it. But there is a certain term that we would bring up to a certain person that should be coming back soon, that we would bring every time this moment would come up. But I was just going to say this. A really good comparison. Later, we're going to compare NASCAR drivers to NFL teams because the return of football. But I'm going to compare Joey Logano to a baseball team. He is the San Francisco Giants. And if you remember, the Giants, like every other year, they won the World Series, then they didn't make the playoffs. Then they won the World Series, then they didn't make the playoffs, and then they won the World Series. Like, that's what Joey's kind of doing right now with the Championship 4 stuff. So I do think it's any more credit. Bryan, you just kind of introduced the topic. Anything you want to add to it?
I'm speechless. I mean, that was. I mean, I'm usually the out of control guy, but holy macromoly, bravo, Massie. Don't you feel better? All of your rage is gone now, and you just release it. That's how I feel a lot of the time, and that's why I just release it into the universe. You feel better now?
Yeah, I feel a lot better. I mean,
See, there you go.
Their comments just piss me off. So, yeah.
Dang nabbit.
Trey, you should have played the sound bite.
Oh, the Steven.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's better when Steven's actually on, but I could go do Massie's rant corner, I guess it would be it instead of tag corner.
That works.
I really wish different rant corner sound.
I really wish Dalton was here right now, just for that moment. And that's who I was referring to. I can
shout out.
He listens to this.
He does.
He should be coming back soon. I can say. I think I'm allowed to say that.
I mean, you just did, so
I did. So, but we've already kind of teased it with because we revealed his playoff pick because he picked Chris Buescher to win the title. He did. So, Bryan, you anything else to add? You feel other than how enjoying? What do you think about Joey Loagno, not about Massie's rant?
I mean, it tees him up perfectly. I mean, you go to the round of 12, and I mean, Talladega, he's always going to be a contender there. I mean, Kansas, I feel like he's going to be solid there. And then if he advances to the round of 8, he's won at Las Vegas before. Homestead, he's solid there. And then Martinsville, he's solid there as well. once again, all you got to do is get to Phoenix. And we've seen him win championship Phoenix before. I mean, Penske's won twice the past 2 years there. So I feel good where this 22 team is at. But, I mean, it doesn't matter until when you get to these elimination races. And we saw how fast you can get on fire like Ryan Blaney did at Martinsville. And then he persevered and won at Phoenix. At that coming before he won at Talladega as well. And that started. I mean, all you got to do is win 3 races and final 5 and you're going to be a champion.
Moving to our next topic, was it early Sunday this all came out?
Saturday.
The charter deal, I guess, is sort of been signed by 13 of the 15 teams, with 2 being let out. Front Row Motorsports, which it's like under the radar. The big news is 2311, which is co-owned by a current NASCAR Cup Series driver. And checks notes, Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Is he notable? That's his middle name. 6-time NBA champion, the 2nd greatest basketball player of all time, and I do mean that. But still,
wait, hold on. The second? No.
Yeah, we're not.
He is
Kareem,
the best.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
No, it's LeBron James. But
get out of here! You're a LeBron stan. Knock it off.
Can we not? Can I finish? Can I set Caleb up, please? Brian, this is why we don't let you on. You also have your own podcast, which I make sound great every week. Caleb, charters. We've talked about it multiple times, but it seems to have now come to a head in a way that maybe no one really thought of.
Yeah, I'm so tired of talking about charters because we're at this point in the year, and I guess all these teams have signed it now, but it sounds like a lot of teams were unhappy with the way it went down, and obviously you have 2 teams that still haven't signed it, and who knows what's going to happen. And what are you guys' thoughts on the current charter situation and how, I guess, NASCAR seems to have really not negotiated it very well with these teams? Do you guys have any thoughts? Because I'll get to mine in a second.
Today, Junior.
Oh, sorry. It's going to be messy. Apparently NASCAR, I feel like, thinks that they're still in the 1970s. I mean, you're battling with, I know we're not going to get into it, Trey, the greatest NBA driver of all time. And who's been
NBA driver,
NBA player. Obviously, my mind is going in 17 different directions. The greatest NBA player of all time, who's been around this in different sports, and basically they're saying, "Oh, they're throwing up." I'm not doing it, Trey. I'm not going to do it. They're throwing up one middle finger to him and say, "No, our motto and our stance is better than what you think." I mean, what like. They have to realize that they're in the wrong here. And sure, I feel like that's never going to happen. And apparently Rick Hendrick said during the media availability for Kyle Larson, he's just tired. So that's why he signed the charter agreement. Like, what? Oh, I'm tired. So I'm going to sign a deal for 8 years that potentially could hurt me, even though I'm losing thousands and thousands, maybe even millions of dollars a year.
7 years.
Tomato, Trey. Like, I don't get it. Like, I would love to have so much money that I could be like, yeah, I'll give away a few $1 million a year. That's fine. I think DBC said, you know how you make money? How you make a small amount of money in racing? By having a large amount of money to begin with. Because you're going to lose it. And I think what Michael Jordan and Curtis Polk in 2311 are saying is we're trying not to lose as much. And NASCAR is like, nah, we don't care. We're going to get our money in. You want to stay in there? You can. But if you don't, we're still going to go. And we're still going to be fine without you. It's not right. And what 2311 doing is for the first time, somebody's got a pair of balls and they're telling NASCAR no. And you know what? NASCAR's not going to like that. But here's the crazy thing that could happen. 2311 could go all the way to the court system in which NASCAR would have to release their financials. And NASCAR is a privately owned company. And they have never done that. Do you really think that they want to reveal all their financials out to the world? I don't think so. So for everybody that says 2311 doesn't have a leg up, I think they kind of do. If they want to get dirt down and they want to get dirty, they can. I don't know, Trey. Am I a little too optimistic that this could go in 2311's favor?
So it's interesting. I think Front Row realizes, this is the 2311 is using a stick and ball ownership mentality. Maybe we can take benefit from it. And also, these two teams are very similar in terms of they are two-car teams that have grown exponentially in the next-gen car area. Granted, 2311 essentially has been a team during the next-gen car area that 1 year under Bubba, but my point being, and third, they're acquiring a third charter going into this first year of the new charter agreement. So they're very similar teams. The only team similar would be Trackhouse, which agreed to sign it, which a lot of the owners were like, they put a gun to our head and we thought they'd pull the trigger, so we signed it at the 11th, 13th hour, whatever you want to say. And 2311, and who probably has the richest owner in the sport, it's either him or Roger Penske, because Jordan's a billionaire. And yeah, so, Michael Jordan has a lot of money. He just sold a basketball team for like $400 million or, a ton of money. So I personally think that 2311 is using, they're like, well, we owned a basketball team, or Michael Jordan did, and we had permanent ownership. And if we're going to treat this like ownership, then we want to have a valuable stake in it. And they also have a driver who understands how NASCAR operates in Denny Hamlin. Like, another comparison is RFK. Well, the Fenway Park owns the Penguins. They own the Red Sox. They own Liverpool. But I think Fenway, they just see RFK as a money kind of thing. Like, we're going to make some money eventually off of it. And they've also have a perpetuance to not spend money when it comes to the Red Sox and the Penguins. So maybe they just don't care as much as 2311, but they're using a stick and ball mentality. And what I mean stick and ball mentality is that I think they want the permanent charter. That's ultimately what they want. I feel like 2311 has been the forefront of that, and they're willing to, they are someone who Michael Jordan negotiated probably the greatest shoe deal in the history of sports, which was essentially he got 5% of Nike sales on his shoe. Well, the Jordan shoe sold pretty well. Like, this dude knows how to negotiate, and he's put people around him that knows how to negotiate. And I think you're really right, Brian, that they're going to I think this will go to court. And I think that will it'll get to a discovery phase. So essentially, like, legal time, my basic, one law class that I had to take in college, there's this thing called discovery in any civil lawsuit, and that's where everything gets discovered. So essentially put, this could be a very dangerous road where you have the most iconic owner in the sport. Like, basically, outside of close finishes, the one time NASCAR generated headlines was when Tyler Reddick won, and it wasn't because Tyler Reddick won, it was because Michael Jordan was in victory lane. And, like, I just think, personally, this is going to go down a path where it's going to get ugly before it gets good. Like every legal case, you see it in college football with the ACC and Florida State and Clemson. It's going to get ugly before it gets good. And I would not be shocked if this doesn't go on till, the Daytona 500 next year. But another part of this is, what if, like, they give 2311 and Front Row something that the other teams didn't get? Like, then that causes an even bigger issue. So you can't renege on the deal.
That won't happen though, Trey, because then Denny Hamlin is going to be like, go give Joe Gibbs something. And then,
well, Denny long term does not care about the success of Joe Gibbs Racing.
He cares about next year.
Yeah, but next year they'll be fine.
If
they get more money, it's not a next year issue. That would be a 5-6 year issue from now.
But I mean, do you really think that's going to happen though? They're just going to be like, oh, to shut them up, we're going to give you two more money.
But I don't think the money is the issue. I don't think the money split is the issue. I think it's one, how NASCAR did it, I think pissed 2311 off.
Oh yeah.
And two, I think there's two aspects. One, and we're getting very minutiae, and we'll let the other guys talk in a second. I think a lot of owners do not want the France family to own a NASCAR team, which is part of this charter deal. There are 4 charters basically available for a new OEM. And essentially, the way it's written, the France family can buy those 4 charters when the new OEM comes in and operate their own team. That would be essentially what's going on in IndyCar with Penske and Penske running the series, which if you follow any percent of IndyCar has caused a lot of issues. Hence why, Michael Andretti, the second most notable owner in that sport, says they need a new person running IndyCar. So that's a big aspect. And I think the permanent charters, that's going to be interesting. If 2311 somehow through a court or whatever is able to keep their, makes it in court where, you can't limit the terms of the ownership, then, every charter becomes a permanent charter for the person who owns it, essentially. I think that's what the court process will play out, not the, hey, 2311 gets, let's say they're getting 51%, they get 54% or a 5% extra cutout. I think ultimately those two things are what's going to be decided. The France ownership in the sport in terms of race teams and whether these charters are permanent, because it's 7 years with an option of 7 more, if I'm not mistaken. Massie, I went pretty long, went a lot into minutia, but I honestly felt pretty smart there. That might have been the smartest stuff I've ever said on this podcast, but what do you think?
Yeah, I think NASCAR has finally met their match. There have been people who have tried to take them on in legal battles in the past. Bobby Allison is one of them. Tim Richmond is another one. But those guys didn't have the money that MJ has. Whereas like Bobby Allison, the reason he gave up his fight against them is because he needed the money. He needed to keep racing to make money to feed his family and all that. Whereas MJ, he's got the kind of money that can rival them and can have a lengthy legal battle. And I hope he does. Take him to court, Michael. Let's see them open their books. I want to see their books. Let's see what are they hiding from us, huh? What are you hiding out there, NASCAR? But
how much is Zach Sterliano making? That's what we really want to know.
Yeah, we give the. But the other thing is that the big 3 signed easily. Rick Hendrick saying he's tired or whatever. But by big 3, I mean Rick Hendrick, Roger Penske, Joe Gibbs. And my question is, and I know this isn't a PC thing to say, but it's something that we need to think about.
Here we go.
In 7 years, are those 3 still gonna be with us? Because no wonder they're only thinking short term. I'm sorry to be the jerk that says that, but the ones that are pushing back are the ones that have visions for futures long term in the sport.
Or younger.
Yeah,
I disagree. Justin Marks signed it.
Yeah, I don't. That's the thing that confuses me. But I don't know.
Jeff Gordon shrugged his shoulders. Jeff Gordon's going to be running Hendrick Motorsports. And
I think I could see them as being non-confrontational.
Clearly, Ty Gibbs needed to be in that meeting because he will be the future owner.
Ty he would have taken it to him. But no,
have Austin Dillon and Ty Gibbs in those meetings because those are the future. Those realistically, they don't need to be in those meetings, but those two people will be future. They'll take over the company. We all know Austin Dillon's going to take over RCR one day, and we all know probably Ty. And I think his cousin is on his pit crew, so those two might take over Joe Gibbs Racing one day.
And you know who won't drive for them? Corey Hine.
I knew you were going to say that.
But it just teed me up.
Or
to
Noah
you.
Gregson.
Or Noah Gregson or anyone. But yeah, I think the ones that didn't fight back are either the ones that are well established, or thinking about the here and now, don't have like visions long term or whatever, and then the ones that just are non-confrontational, or like a situation like the Wood brothers. Penske did it; they have to do it, right? Like they can't really fight back. So
No one
I
would
think
care
that,
if RFK did it, like, or not RFK, if Rick Ware did it. Like, lol, we want you out anyways. Like, you're so bad.
yeah, Rick Ware had to take whatever they gave him. But yeah, I just think that that the I don't know how to go deeper with this without. But anyways,
What?
I'm already said way too much.
Keep going.
A lot of people are gonna be mad at you, Massie, after this episode.
No, what we're gonna do, since we're doing the NFL, Caleb, do you remember the NFL primetime? You know the show. You need to do the music that they do for the highlights, and then just have a highlight of all of Massey's sayings today. Come on, say it.
I should probably
free.
just stop. I should probably just stop.
You're in a
You won't.
Come on.
You won't.
One more.
But I've lost my train of thought now. So.
All right, go ahead, Caleb.
Maybe I'll give Massie some time to pick up his train of thought again. I think just my frustration with it all is, and you see it with both of the major American motorsports, is the constant, like, there's so much potential to grow and to continue to grow, especially with the way motorsports and Formula One has grown on an international scale. And then we get to these moments when it just seems like some people at the top are kind of choking out that growth. And I know a lot of IndyCar fans were upset with some comments made on their side of things this week. And NASCAR, to their credit, has done a ton of things, I feel like, in the past 5-10 years to expand in a lot of different ways. And the charter system was something, whenever they first implemented it, I was a little unsure about. I was like, I don't really understand how this might help or affect the teams and all that sort of thing. But I mean, I think, like, at least for these big teams, it has been a benefit, or it's been a good thing. I don't know what word I was about to say, but just all of a sudden, like, doing all these really cool things. We're going international. We've been doing street races. We're trying all these cool things, but then you get to this point where the teams are trying to, like, this is ultimately, I feel like, another growth thing, because if the teams are able to make more money, first off, just this whole next gen car thing is kind of frustrating me, because the teams are forced to buy these cars and these parts, and then every time something gets changed, they have to buy the other parts that get changed and all this stuff, and it's a single supplier, and so you're already forcing the teams to spend all this money on this sort of stuff, but then you're not willing to help them out with their situation, and they're having to rely on more and more of these drivers that bring sponsorship, rather than maybe some of these guys that are talented and don't quite have the sponsorship dollars, but they can't ever really get their shot in the Cup Series, because the teams are like, hey, like, we need some more money. Like, we can't afford the day-to-day operations, and just a lot of that. And then as well with, like, the TV contracts, NASCAR, I mean, has negotiated this thing to make a ton of money off of it. But then, like, what about the teams trying to sell sponsorships for some of these races on streaming platforms that haven't quite been proven yet? And it just, I just hate that these teams feel like they're backed into a corner. And, like, I don't want to see NASCAR and the teams fracture and everything. But at the same time, I was kind of like some of the teams who were saying that they weren't going to participate in the Netflix documentary, or I don't know if they ever would have boycotted any races, but, like, you're kind of like, hey, like, what can the teams offer? Because ultimately, we're going to the racetrack. The Hendrick fans are going to watch those Hendrick Chevys compete, and the 2311 fans are going to watch those 2311 Toyotas compete. And you're not going just because it's a NASCAR race. You're going because you have some investment there with a team, with a driver, with a manufacturer, any of that. And to try to just treat the teams like, I mean, they are playing. It is NASCAR's court. It's NASCAR's ball. It's their whole sport. But at the same time, I just feel like the teams need to be treated a little bit better and treated like they're worth a little bit more through this whole process. And so that's what, especially looking at like Michael Jordan, I don't know if he will. Part of me feels like he would just say, all right, well, if you guys don't want me here, then I'll leave. And like, I don't think NASCAR needs to kneel to Michael Jordan's request, but at the same time, again, he's by far the most influential figure in the sport right now. And if you're trying to go after a different audience, like that's the way. Like, forget international, forget street racing. Like, Michael Jordan is right there. You don't have to worry about spending all this money to build fake racetracks inside of football stadiums. You can go through Michael Jordan and try to use that as an avenue. So I don't know, Massie, are you ready to get back on your rant yet? Or
Do it.
I'll just say that the ones that did sign they're probably rooting for Michael Jordan and Bob Jenkins in secret. And they're not gonna.
Someone anonymously compared him to NASCAR to a communist regime.
I think we know who that was.
That was pretty funny because if they were a communist regime, they'd be sharing the wealth, right? Is that the whole idealism of communism?
Wait, so do we all agree it's someone who may or may not be pissed off by NASCAR because they didn't let their grandkid in?
Ding, ding, ding.
Okay. Just saying.
Yeah.
All right, let's move. Speaking of the playoffs, let's move to our next. Well, after the first playoffs, we of course have to talk about the cut line, and I'll set it up for you, Massie. Brad Keselowski -1, Harrison Burton -16, Martin Truex Jr. -19, and Chase Briscoe -21. You wanted to talk about those four.
Yeah, so of those four guys, I mean, obviously the first two you mentioned, not really a big deficit, very easy to climb out of.
1 point is very easy.
Whoa. So you make up 1 point. But no, just of those four, which ones do you guys think will move on, and which ones do you think are kind of just gonna stay with that where they're at? I'll tell you mine first. I think Briscoe and Truex aren't moving on, not because of the stand. Briscoe, I don't think there's enough. He hasn't had enough speed week to week. Truex, he's gonna have a piano fall on his car in the next 2 weeks and miss it. He's just horrible luck. Keselowski, I do think he will advance. He's good at Bristol. I could see him having a good run there. And what was the other one? It was Ty Gibbs?
Burton.
Oh, Burton. Yeah, Burton's done. He's done. Yeah, that was his shot was Atlanta. All the Penske guys ran good there. He was nowhere to be found. So of those four, I think only Keselowski moves on. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think personally, I am very. If I had to pick one I'm most worried about, it's Martin Truex Jr. because he has the most expectations and the biggest hole. Like, if Briscoe and Burton missed in the first round, it's like they still had a successful season, given they where they were when they won, and it just happens to be something in which, like, all right, who are you going to replace? Well, first name I would think of is Daniel Suarez, but Daniel Suarez is now plus 22 to the cut line. So that means he would have to lose 11 points per race. Like, if he gets one, let's say he runs like 8th in 2 stages, but then finishes bad. Well, that's enough, points where he might be able to sneak in. And that would be like the one person I replace. Now, I think Brad Keselowski can outpoint Ty Gibbs in 2 races by 1 point. I think ultimately it comes down to, like, is Truex is the one I'm concerned about. Like, if Martin Truex gets out in the first round of the playoffs, despite the fact I guess he was the 16th seed, it's a disappointment because this is a guy who the expectation is to win the championship, and he gets out in the first round. Like, it's very, very disappointing. Caleb?
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree with that. With Truex being my biggest concern, and he has not been good in the last few night races. Last year, he finished 19th. He was that guy. Like he brought out the like one caution in stage 3 where he kind of half spun and NASCAR through the yellow real quick before he ultimately went a lap down. And that was when he won the regular season championship, and he was in trouble to possibly get eliminated in the first round. And then 2 years ago, 2022, of course, he was involved in an accident, but he finished last in that night race. He was second here in the spring, and there was all that tire chaos. So who knows what we're going to see at Bristol, but that's the one track. Truex has been historically good at road courses, but again, it's just he's at that piano fall in his car like we've kind of joked about the last few weeks. And I mean, he's running at Atlanta, and he's passing cars, and then Blaney slides sideways and hits him, and everybody else bounced off each other all day with no issues. And then Truex was the one unlucky soul that had his entire front wheel just destroyed. So him, ever since the start of last year's playoffs, he just has had zero luck. And I think I kind of mentioned it last week. I think there's a little bit of extra pressure on Truex to get that final win in this final season. Briscoe, he's okay at Bristol, but I don't know that he's going to be able to outduel the other guys, and especially not with Watkins Glen in the mix. I think Keselowski is the best shot to get out of the bottom 4. I mean, only 1 point behind, and the others have Burton 16, Truex 19, Briscoe 21 behind. And Keselowski, he's not the best on road courses, except for Watkins Glen. That's like his one good road course. And then he's pretty solid at Bristol as well. But I do think Harrison Burton, depending on how things go with a little bit of help, I think he could still be the sleeper guy because he's a solid driver at Bristol. And he's had some okay finishes at Watkins Glen. Like I said, he's going to have some help. But I definitely think, again, Truex is that guy below the cut line right now to be the most concerned. And heck, even with Gibbs and Denny Hamlin right there, who's to say that we don't see 2 JGR cars get knocked out in this first round?
Honestly, it feels like when someone's going on like their final year of racing, it never goes as planned. Jimmy Johnson. Well, I mean, even Dale Jr., then Jimmy Johnson, and then Kevin Harvick, and now Martin Truex Jr. And it feels like this is once again a final year gone not the way people want it. And for Martin Truex Jr., I mean, he got an incident with the 17 and the 12 at Atlanta, still has not won a race, and then he's pretty far out. I don't see him changing for either this weekend or next weekend. So honestly, I think the below the cut line is going to be the same for the final 3 guys. I do think Keselowski can sneak in there. Who's going to sneak out? I'm sorry, Ed. I know you love your guy, but I'm going to go Ty Gibbs out. I think Keselowski's going to sneak in to the round of 12, and then I think Ty Gibbs is going to get eliminated.
Who do you think's feeling more pressure to win this year, Kyle Busch or Martin Truex in these last 9 races?
Ooh.
Kyle Busch.
I don't know, man. I mean, both are feeling a lot of pressure.
But there's not like if Truex doesn't win, it's not like a streak ends. Like
that's a great question, Caleb. Good question.
I would say Kyle Busch because if he doesn't win, then like this streak ends, and it's kind of like, you know, he kind of go like the next season, like the most question marks surround Kyle Busch since what he was at Hendrick, like, you know, starting out, maybe coming off of his leg injury, because essentially put like, you know,
or was last year at JGR?
Yeah. But like essentially put like there's gonna be way more questions than answers when it comes around Kyle Busch. If Truex doesn't win, like he's still gonna go out as a Hall of Famer. Like And every race he does here on out, it's going to be cool. Like the fact he's doing the Daytona 500 with Cole Pern is cool. It's not, I don't think he has like at this point when you announce your retirement, it's sort of like you don't have the pressure to win necessarily as much as Kyle Busch, but you just like it would be cool to win if that makes sense. I think that's bigger than the pressure itself.
He has nothing to prove. Truex has nothing to prove.
Kyle Busch will next year because he's still racing.
Right, which Kyle Busch kind of doesn't have anything to prove because he's a 2-time champ. But yeah, he's got to get that next contract, whether that's re-signing with RCR after next year or going to a different team. So yeah, he's still got to keep his stock high and win races and stuff. I do have a question for you guys. If Chase Briscoe were to somehow move in and bump Ty Gibbs out, would that contract for Briscoe to drive the 19 be null and void?
No.
Sorry, too soon.
Do you just love to make everyone angry during this episode or something? Because my gosh, poor Tom Bowles is going to have to get tons of calls from angry people.
I'm not the one keeping Toyota's top prospect out of a good ride because of a grudge from ARCA days.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Allegedly. We'll say allegedly.
Allegedly.
Classic news word right there.
Right, exactly.
The views of frontstretch.com do not necessarily reflect the views of Michael Massie.
Amen. Amen.
All right. Moving to our final topic, and should we talk Larson or should we just go into the NFL things? Because we only got a little bit of time left. We'll do the NFL. I think that's going to take a little bit. So Larson's doing the double quickly. Everyone excited about that, right?
Groove.
Yes.
Yeah. I hope Mother Nature is excited about that. That's the only.
Yeah. I mean,
and then if it's not, Tony Kanaan will race. So still cool.
Well, more reaction to that tomorrow during Bring the Heat with Bryan Nolen, which is not with Bryan Nolen. I'm hosting it.
Let me say one thing. I'm glad that I thought it was funny. Rick Hendrick said that the Coke 600 would be the top priority.
He said that last year.
They said that last year. Yeah.
Granted, I think it might be considering the way the waiver went, and NASCAR was like, "You better not do this again." So, but it's also kind of interesting. So, when it comes to Indy, like, you can't have a sub driver. So, like, if Larson starts the race, and let's say like it's 2 laps, like I don't know, like a 50-minute or a 2-hour-long red flag happens in the middle of it, like Kanaan can't fill his seat, so he would finish.
Weird.
So it'd be. I just hope he's able to at least have the chance. He didn't have the chance to complete all of it. I hope he gets at least the chance to complete all of it. All right. Oh, I got it. I still think he has a real shot to win both next year. I felt that way this year, and after watching him, I feel even more strong that he has a shot to win both.
Yeah, I mean,
assuming he has the car
and doesn't get a pit road penalty, but
yeah,
that too.
I mean, his teammate Pato was, so close to winning it last year. So, who knows? All right, folks. So, dun 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 dun. The NFL is back. Football is back. And so, what I'm going to do for these 3 is I have a list of drivers, and I'm going to name them, and you have to compare them to an NFL team. And this is going to be fun. So, we will start out with the aforementioned Kyle Larson.
It's got to be the Chiefs, right? Like,
I think so.
Yeah.
The best right now.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm going to go Packers for it. Always a lot of...
because they're what? The best right now?
No.
You got that,
always.
How about that butt kicking in Brazil, boy?
Hold on. Let me finish. And by the way, we didn't take cheap shots in your quarterback. But...
Fight!
They couldn't hit the quarterback because they kept slipping on the field.
Championship, yeah, right. Championship aspirations every year. A lot of hype, but only one championship
of recent memory.
Yeah.
So maybe Kyle Larson is our Aaron Rodgers, and he's going to start doing, go to darkness retreats before the Indy 500.
I'm down with
that. There.
I would love that.
But I also think about the Chiefs, like, the Chiefs were a playoff contender every year, but no one thought they could win the championship every year until they got Patrick Mahomes. Kyle Larson was a playoff contender, even got to the round of 8, but no one really thought he could win the championship till he got to Hendrick. And notice the first, when they pair up, they win the championship. It's so hard to win like multiple championships. Well, in the NFL, but like in NASCAR, you could argue it's even harder just because of the format. Because it's not like, there's 36 teams on a field at one time. Like, the Chiefs have a lot more control of the outcome of a game compared to Kyle Larson as the outcome of a race. So I think it's the Chiefs because simply they're both the best. And at the most important position, they have the most talented person. Because the 5 team, yes, the 5 team has the most talented race car driver arguably on the planet. And the Chiefs have the most talented quarterback maybe we've ever seen in the history of football. All right, so we voting on this? Chiefs?
Yeah, we're good.
Chiefs?
Yeah,
Right.
we can go Chiefs.
Yeah, Chiefs.
All right. Dennis Hamlin. I think there's 2 choices with this one. It's either the Dallas Cowboys or the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, there you go.
Because it's someone who is a perennial winner, but falls short in the playoffs.
I don't think it's Cowboys. Denny gets at least to the
No.
Super Bowl. Bills got to the AFC title
But
game.
you could also talk about from a fan point of view, like
Yeah.
the Cowboys are the
that's
most
true.
hated team in the NFL.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Fair.
And Denny is the
Okay.
most hated driver.
That's true. I see where you're going from.
Yeah, and I like the Cowboys one because he's the most hated driver. There's always championship expectations. Doesn't get there. Both. I mean, Cowboys have actually won championships, but since 1996, Denny Hamlin and the Cowboys have won the same amount of championships. So.
Yes. In three of the 4 people on here's lifetime.
Hey, I almost think I was kind of thinking about maybe like the 49ers, kind of the alternate to the Chiefs because he's always good and he's another one of those guys that people look
Has
to
really
be the
bad
best.
luck. Oh, that's
Yes,
actually a good
yeah,
one. You think about it like the Brock
That's a
Purdy
good one.
injury.
Yeah,
In the Super Bowl, they had their second, Drake Greenlaw goes out. That's actually
then he got injured at the end of last year, which when a lot of people thought that was his year to win the championship, and then he was dealing with his shoulder stuff. Just throwing that out there.
That's a good one.
and people hate the 49ers too.
I do.
I do too.
By people, I mean,
Ooh,
you too.
I think the 49ers are a better one because the 49ers, there's never a year in recent memory where I thought the Dallas Cowboys were the best team in the NFL.
Yeah, I can say that about the Niners. That's a great one.
I thought the 49ers, at least last year, I thought the 49ers were the best team in the NFL. They just lost to Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
And they should have won, probably.
And Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah, and Taylor Swift. So the 49ers, that's a good pull. That was a good pull. We have already had preliminary discussions about these, so this is why we're kind of shocked Caleb brought up the 49ers.
I was working. I was paying attention.
So 49ers, everyone good with that?
Good.
All right. Bubba Wallace. I think it has to be like a very polarizing team that
Don't
Cowboys.
say it. Okay, you can say that.
no, it can't. He thought I was gonna say the Jets, but
There you go.
Bubba at least wins.
Okay,
He's one-
that takes mine out a little bit.
What were
I
you
was
gonna
gonna
pick?
When was
I
the
was
last
gonna
time
say-
Bubba won?
I was gonna say
2
the
years ago.
Chargers
Better than the
Exactly.
Actually, I think that's a good one. The Chargers.
because their
Oh,
social
they did make the
media.
They
their
did make the
social media
playoffs.
game's good.
They did make the playoffs last year.
Yeah, they do
They
make
have
the
a-
playoffs
like
every
a-
once in a while.
They have a very, you can. And like Bubba had a pit crew that really screwed him a lot. The Chargers had a head coach that screwed them a lot.
Yeah,
So, and so
I think the
and
Chargers
clearly
is a good
Goody
one.
Barker and Jim Harbaugh are like they're very good characters.
Who's got it better than we do?
got it-
Nobody.
Okay, well, it's who's got it better than us, and you got the second part right.
Trey, shut up.
But I think the Chargers is a good pool because like Justin Herbert is like in that conversation of like elite quarterback, and
But he
and
never gets it done.
in their division they have the best, and right now the best is Tyler Reddick in terms of the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I got it. Okay, I got a good one now.
So I think it's the Chargers.
Okay.
All right, this one I think is obvious. Kyle Busch, I think, is the New England Patriots.
I was going to agree with that one.
Winner, like consistent winner, and slowly but surely is falling off a cliff till this season. Like this is Kyle Busch's season this year was the Pat season last year, where it just fell off the cliff.
I don't think Kyle Busch is that bad.
Well, it came after a major change too, because the Pats lost Brady and Belichick, and well, I guess
Yep.
they just lost Brady. But
Patriots are awful though. Bush ain't awful.
Better than-
awful.
Hey, they got a better
Who's
record than the
playoffs?
Jets right now.
Dude, it's week 2.
You
I can't wait.
for me. You
I can't. I cannot wait till Sirianni loses his job in like week 6 and everybody's
And they
like
hire
screaming
Bill
from the rooftop.
And they hire Bill Belichick. Okay.
Go
No,
for
but
it.
I
to
think it's the
add on to
Patriots.
the Patriots thing, I agree with the Patriots because also the Patriots used to be the most hated team. Kyle Busch used to be the most
true.
hated driver.
Yeah, now they're kind of like, oh, we wish success. Like, I actually rooted for Gerard Mayo this weekend. Like, I was like, good for him.
Yeah.
All right. Chase Elliott. What is the most popular team in football? Like,
Packers?
everyone loves.
Oh
I
no,
mean-
never mind. I got it.
oh, that's
Could he-
good.
It would be the gold and yellow and black.
The Steelers?
Yeah.
I was actually thinking the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where it's like they won a title and then like dipped. And
But like, you can't just be like, "Hey, who's your favorite team?" The Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
but no one
They are
hates
my favorite.
no
team.
one hates the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Does anyone? I mean, no one like.
No one
loves
really
them,
likes. Yeah,
though. Exactly.
the
I think-
Steelers.
I like Steelers better.
Yeah,
Because they are very popular and they
they're
always
consistent.
They always
Mhm.
do just enough to get in the playoffs. And like
Yeah.
Chase Elliott hasn't done a whole lot this year, but he's still a championship threat, I guess.
I was gonna maybe say the Rams because I feel like the Rams are a little bit more like kind of just mellow and mild. Like they don't draw.
Yeah, but they don't have a fan base.
True, yeah. But they're like consistently good, and Chase Elliott's just consistently good, but not like.
So are the
you know.
Steelers. All right, William Byron, the Liberty Flames. Can we pick a color?
I said the Eagles because he starts out strong and then forgets how to win.
Yeah, it's not like the Eagles were in the Super Bowl.
That's a great.
Oh, you just got him. Trey's a little
Just
triggered.
remember what's your favorite team of your boss? Just remember that. Just
Trey's a little triggered right now. It's okay,
two.
Caleb. You got him triggered.
No, actually, it's a good pick. Like William Byron, like it's a good pick. Like,
It is.
Yeah, it's actually really good.
but here's the thing. I feel like I have a different one for the Eagles. I think the Eagles are Joey Logano because he's like the Eagles are good like every other year. It feels like they went to the Super Bowl, then they sucked they sucked in the back half of last year, or they'll be like really hot, or they'll get really hot at one point in the year. Like they got hot year one under Sirianni, got hot late, but then like faded in the playoffs. And like the Eagles are a very divisive fan base, and Joey Logano is a very divisive driver. So I'm thinking Joey Logano for the Eagles.
I like that.
All right. So now we got to go back to William Byron.
I still like Byron for the Eagles.
I mean, he could also be. Wait, he could be the Bills too. I mean, the Bills. You know, they like always get picked to win the championship, but then fade in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I don't know that Byron fades in the play. He fades in the summer, and then he kind of makes like a resurgence in the playoffs, but then it's like a little, too late type of situation. I feel like.
Well, he did make the champ 4 last year. Could it be the
Yeah.
Bengals? Oh, that would be someone who gets off to a slow start and then closes well, which might actually would get to the all right, we're gonna get to Byron last because it feels like the hardest one.
We're gonna come back.
I got
Good Lord.
Ryan Blaney is definitely the Cincinnati Bengals. Starts off slow and then gets hot late and, won the championship. Also,
and the ladies love him.
Joe Burrow is somehow the most attractive quarterback in the NFL, and Ryan Blaney is deemed the most attractive race car driver.
My wife calls Joe Burrow Joe Daddy.
My point exactly. I'm just saying. I think it's he's the Bengals.
She does not call Ryan Blaney Ryan Daddy.
So, okay, cool.
Does she call?
You didn't answer my question.
But then again, like Cincinnati hasn't won a Super Bowl though.
They went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin went to a championship race and didn't win.
Okay, then what other team would Ryan Blaney be? I think that's a perfect comparison.
I'm on board with you, Trey, on that one at least.
I guess so.
All right, so he's.
I guess he could be a Buccaneers because they went in as a wild card and won it, and
They had Tom Brady.
Yeah.
Well, Blaney has Roger Penske, basically the same person.
Sure. But Tom Brady's not there anymore. So are we going Bengals or Bucks?
Tom Brady and Roger Penske both did great things, and now they're both ruining something.
Amen. Preach it. Once again, another person someone's gonna get mad at you for. So let's see.
He's gonna call you and be like, "Why are you bashing?"
Let's see. So we got Jeff Gluck, Steven Stump, NASCAR, Roger Penske,
Tom Brady.
So
that means
Fox. Okay, so that's 6.
So all right, Bengals or Bucks for Blaney?
I go Bengals.
I go Bengals.
We'll go Bengals.
Fine, I'll go Bengals.
All right, we'll go back to Byron in a second. Tyler Reddick, Houston Texans.
I like. Oh, I had it too. Oh no.
It has to be someone who came onto the scene really he sort of had good moments and then
what about the Los Angeles Rams?
Possibly, but the Rams have been consistent. I feel like it has to be one of the teams that is just good. I think it's either the Lions or the Texans.
Because, I like the Lions. I like the Lions
because they've been good. The Lions are
actually no.
I think Ryan Blaney could be the Rams.
Who?
They both Ryan Blaney, because they won a Super Bowl.
We already decided it. So it has to be. So I think that the two I don't want to say two of the hottest picks right now to be the 1 seeds are the Texans and the Lions. And so if we think about it that way, but I think Stroud is very talented. Jared Goff is not, so I'm going with.
So
that.
I like Stroud to comparing Stroud to a Carson Hocevar, where he's really stepping up Spire the way Stroud has stepped up.
I'm okay with doing the Lions for Tyler Reddick.
Yeah, we could do Lions.
Also, a cult fan base. I feel like Tyler Reddick has a really cult fan base.
Mm-hmm.
So Lions, everyone fine with that?
Let's do it.
All right. Martin Truex Jr. also could be the New England Patriots. It has to be someone who fades at the end of the year. And this could be we already used the Steelers, but this could have been the Steelers.
I was gonna say Seahawks.
Won 1 title, fumbled a second.
Yeah.
They just
And now he's just kind of just there.
Changing the guard, it's about to be changing the guard in the 19 team. They just got rid of Pete Carroll.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right. Back to William Byron.
Oh God.
So he's someone who's we could do the Cowboys. Because
nobody hates him.
Yeah.
Um,
but it's. I'm trying to think of the playoff teams.
Be kind of a similar thing as maybe like the Dolphins.
What about the Ravens? No one hates the Ravens.
Yeah, there we go.
They've fallen up short of winning the championship, but they always seem to be like the trendy team that people pick to upset the apple card.
And Lamar always misses like 5 games in the middle of the year.
And during the offseason because of his issues with his stomach.
So the Ravens. All right.
The Ravens of Baltimore.
Oh, I thought it was the Ravens of Pittsburgh.
Massie, I cannot say anything inappropriate.
And an honorable mention, just because Ty Gibbs has to be the Commanders, but that's more because his last name is Gibbs.
Wait, no, Trey, you forgot one.
No, I didn't.
That's such an insult to Ty Gibbs, though.
But he technically owns the team. Like, Joe Gibbs owns part of the Commanders, so you have to pick the Commanders.
No, Trey, you forgot one. Your boy.
My boy? Who is my boy?
Danny.
The driver of the number 71 car.
Oh, that's because I already picked Zane Smith, and he's clearly he is the Georgia Bulldogs, because he's just going to dominate everyone in college. So he's going to dominate everyone in the truck series.
Fair.
Or he's actually the Kansas City Chiefs, since we didn't pick that, because I thought about it earlier. I was like, oh, he is the Matthew Stafford Detroit Lions, because he is really good on a shit team. And that will do it for this episode of Happy Hour.
Do we get any standings?
Oh, yeah. Coming up, so this is, I think, Brian's first time being here since.
Yeah. Listen.
Brian,
okay.
No.
You guys
can't
were
defend
fake
yourself.
news to me. No, here's the thing. Y'all gave me bad advice. You said this was just for a 1 week, and I was like, "Oh, okay,
no, we didn't.
Yes,
we
you
never
did.
said that. We never said that.
You guys all are like, I am like. Oh,
can I reveal the points,
rigged.
please?
This is rigged.
All right. Well, you're in last place at 3160.
Of course, because it's rigged. But
you did do better than Tom this week, and almost did better than me at 3292. Massie with a big week at 3586, extending his lead slightly over me by, what is that, 41 points.
Hey. Yeah, I got that Logano win, and then I'll get a bonus for him getting the next round, right?
So it's clearly down to 2 people. Massie's pulling away. We'll see how that shakes out. I'm apparently hosting Bring the Heat this week. Don't know who is. We'll have Tyler Reddick as the interview.
Tyler Reddick will be joining us to drive the number 45 car.
Can I
big time guest? No.
Okay, that will do it. Michael Massie needs to drive home. Are you writing this week?
Yes, I think so. I don't know. We'll see.
Caleb, did you write on Sunday?
I did, yeah.
And let me tell you, I read the article in the hotel room after the race. It was a great article, Caleb. Check it out at frontstretch.com.
Love to hear it.
And and Brian will just do nothing. All right, that will do it for this episode. I mean, that's true. For some reason, Brian can't do 2 podcasts in 1 week.
I live a busy life. I have an 11-month-old French bulldog that's barking at my wife right now, so I got to go control him as well. God, Trey, you really... nope.
And that will do it for this episode of Happy Hour. For Caleb Barnes, for Michael Massie, and for Bryan Nolen.
Go bring it back.
Thank you so much for listening. Good night, everybody.